Welcome to the Pageturner. Before this episode starts, I want to inform you that topics covered in this episode may be found disturbing or uncomfortable to some listeners. As such, viewer or rather listener discretion is advised. Additionally, if you or a loved one needs help, help is available by dialing 988 for the suicide hotline. You are not alone. Now sit back, grab a snack, and enjoy the episode. Hi guys, welcome back to episode 5 of the Pageturner. I'm your host Christina. If you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. So episode 5 is going to be once again laid back, and today I'm going to discuss some new and upcoming 2026 horror releases. So, little story before we start. I actually recorded this episode already, but when I was watching back the footage, I realized my mic cut out. Majority of the video, it was cut out. So here I am recording it for the second time. But it's okay, because I will still get it out to y'all in time. So anyways, I got all of these books from Goodreads, because obviously Goodreads is one of the best places to find books. And this is specifically off of their newsletters, and this one's called Reader 79 Most Anticipated Spring Books. I highly recommend you take a look at that because it has a bunch of genres of books on there, including little descriptions of them as well as release dates. So, yeah, I would definitely look forward to reading that. And if any of these books interest you that I'm going to talk about today, I would definitely recommend going to Goodreads or researching them up, read a little bit more about them, and see if they are willing to buy for you. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to start with our first book. This book is actually already released, and this is one of my upcoming anticipated reads. It is Spoiled Milk by Avi Kuran. I hope I'm pronouncing that last name right. But that cover, first of all, is so pretty. I love it. But essentially, this book is marketed as kind of like a 1920s queer boarding school horror, which is sounds right up my alley. But basically, one of the main character's friends dies in the school, and essentially, her and a bunch of these other female classmates get together and form kind of like a seance to bring her back. And basically, when she does come back, she basically said bad things are to come to the school, and there's this kind of bad things start to happen to the school, food starts rotting, bodies start falling, so they have to figure out what's happening before it gets worse. Like I said, the cover's really pretty, so it's extra brownie points. I don't actually know when this got released. Let's see. Well, it obviously got released this year. It says it's the first printing. Hey, that's nice. Okay. But what I also like about this is, oh my god, I don't know if y'all can see. I suck at holding books, but there's a character list. Oh my god. There's a character list. So that's going to definitely help me when I read, because I feel like I'm so going to forget everybody. So yeah, that's this book. The next book I'm going to talk about is from an author I already talked about. This book is also already out. She is the author of Hazelthorne and Don't Let the Forest In. This is C.G. Drew's new release called You Did Nothing Wrong. And it's sort of like a take on the haunted house novel. So basically this family, and I believe their son, moves into this new house and they start renovations on it. But the son says the walls are kind of like talking to him, and that the house is telling him like the renovations that the family's doing is hurting the house, which is really creepy. Without saying. So it's kind of like a mix of supernatural horror, family drama, psychological suspense. And I really want to see what makes them sort of stay and face this rather than just leaving. Like I said, it's already out. So if you like C.G. Drew's other work, I would recommend going to buy that. So this third book is from, I would say, a highly kind of renowned author. She's the author of the What Moves the Dead trilogy, which is based off of Edgar Allan Poe's The Fall of the House of Usher, which I have to get to. I have to get to reading that, because I read Fall of the House of Usher, and I'm really looking forward to reading her work. This is T. Kingfisher's new release. I have a copy. As you can tell, it's already out. It's called Wolfworm, and it seems really interesting. So it's set in 1899 as we follow a professor illustrator named Sonia. She essentially moves in with an entomologist in the dark forest of North Carolina to sketch some like images of animals and stuff. But the doctor's kind of been like conducting experiments on like parasitic maggots, his own wife. And it just seems really creepy. But the setting overall sounds very atmospheric and it overall seems interested. And like I said, it's already published. So if you like T. Kingfisher's other works, I would highly recommend reading this one. Okay, the next book, I have not talked about this author at all, but it's called Nothing Tastes as Good by Luc Dumas. And this book kind of tackles the brutal side of weight loss drugs. As we follow our main character, Emmett Truesdale, he basically finds this diet, but it's a very dangerous one. And this diet causes him to experience weird memory blackout. I can't speak. Weird memory blackouts. Thank you. And especially the people who treat him cruelly begin to disappear. And like I said, it's already published at this point that I'm recording it and it'll probably be posted. But I would like to see with this one what causes him to keep taking it. Because he could just stop if this is happening. But I want to see what causes him to keep taking it and investigate. This next book is. Oh, this book is actually already out too. This book was published on April 14th, and she is the author of Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Jane. It is Lee Baker's new novel, Japanese Gothic. And so essentially, we follow kind of two timelines here in the present day in 2026 and in 1877. So it's kind of like a mix of horror and historical fiction. And so from the Goodreads thing directly, I quote, it says here, details include a college student on the run, a young female samurai, a bed of sword ferns, and a very old house in Japan. And it says here, early readers enjoyed the blend of real and supernatural horror. So this seems more like a horror and historical fiction. So if that interests you, I would definitely recommend picking it up. Now this one, this author is kind of like has mixed reviews on this book, We Used to Live Here. But most people say it's going to be good, so I know for a fact it's going to be highly anticipated. It's Marcus Kluwer's The Caretaker, and this is to be released April 21st. So essentially, in this book, we follow an unemployed graphic designer as he spends 3 days house sitting in a house in coastal Oregon, but the job comes with odd instructions. And I definitely want to see his drive to keep up the housekeeping. Maybe it's because of the pay, maybe it's because like he has to do it. I don't know, but I want to see where that goes. The next one. This is from the same author as The Eyes Are the Best Part, so I know for a fact this is going to be unhinged. This is Monica Kim's Molka. So Molka in Korean actually means hidden camera, and it's fitting because this commentates on the very real problem of hidden cameras in South Korea. So essentially, men basically hide cameras, film women, upload the footage online, which is absolutely disgusting. But essentially tells a story of when a victim of this hidden camera crime decides to take vengeance on the men who did it, and it essentially has political and supernatural elements as well. And like I said, oh no, I didn't say this. What? It's fine. This book is actually to be released April 28th at the end of the month, so I would definitely recommend it. This last book I'm going to talk about is also going to be released on April 28th. This is Daisy Pierce's Dark is Where the Devil Comes. I would like to preface that I have not read a Daisy Pierce novel ever, but this seems really interesting, so I may pick it up. Depends. So essentially, we follow Hazel, our main character. She's essentially reeling from her recent divorce, and she retreats to her home in the English countryside for some alone time and to essentially reconnect with her estranged sister, Kathy. However, times have changed in this town since she's been there, and there's something wrong with the woods, and it essentially blends folk horror with missing person drama and atmospheric suspense, which that line right there sounds really interesting to me. I personally like my horror more atmospheric, and I hope the prose isn't as simplistic, because don't get me wrong, I like accessible prose, right? It just gets to a point of where it's oversimplistic, and then there's on the other side of the spectrum where it gets too descriptive. I like a nice little in the middle and a little bit off to the side of the descriptive, so I feel really immersed. So yeah, that's it for today's episode. Keeping it real short today, I know. But like I said, if you are interested in reading any of these, search it up, read what it's about, maybe find a sample online. That's what I like to do sometimes, and consider purchasing it. In our next episode, I'm planning to talk about the king of horror, pun intended, I guess, Stephen King. So I will see you then. Bye, guys. Love you. See you next time.